Dogs are regarded as man's best friend, and there are many reasons why. It is also a pretty respectable position, considering all the animals that man has interacted with and domesticated down the years. Horses, cats, parrots, there is an endless list of animals, but dogs are special. They're different in how they love, respect, and listen to their owners. For Ivan, his dog Binka was certainly his buddy whom he always took a stroll through the town with. It was a routine trip that they regularly took, so Binka's behavior on this trip was strange. His owner had never experienced this before. On this fateful day, Ivan and his dog went on their regular walk through the cemetery. Binka suddenly ran and started digging and barking frantically. This had never happened before, and his owner couldn't figure out why he would suddenly behave this way. But Ivan was about to be shocked by the discovery Binka was about to make. What could it be digging for? Although we hear about strange things happening in many places in the world, especially rural areas, this story of this dog is different and special in a way you would not believe. Ivan, a 56-year-old man, went on his daily walk around the old town he lived. He had spent his entire life in this town and now lived with only his dog Binka. Walking through the town together was a ritual they did daily, and today was no exception. Ivan always felt a profound peace every time he walked through town. But with this peace came a strange sadness. He remembered this town used to be boisterous, filled with smiles and children running down the street happy. What was left now was a quiet, eerie, and empty town. The cemetery was a mirror of what the town had become. Someone new had just died and been buried. Ivan could see the grave looked fresh. A young woman in the village had died a few days back. The town was too far away, and doctors couldn't come there often. So many people guessed the cause of her death. Ivan was still staring at the grave while walking when Binka stopped abruptly. His ears perched as if searching for a signal. And just in the twinkle of an eye, he dashed towards the dead woman's grave and started digging and barking. Ivan couldn't believe what was happening. For a second, he couldn't move and wondered what could have possessed his dog to behave in such a strange manner. Down Binka! Ivan yelled at his dog, but he wouldn't listen. Binka looked determined to get to the bottom of the ground. The dog kept on digging and barking, while Ivan tried his best to restrain him to stop the damage he had caused. What would the parents of this poor woman think if they saw their daughter's grave in such a state? He had begun to think of how he would close the grave back once his dog finished. He was still deep in his thought when Binka suddenly stopped. He had reached the coffin and looked up at his owner expectantly. The look was the look of his dog asking him to open the coffin. What? He wanted him to open it, but Binka was relentless. When he saw his owner wouldn't open the coffin, he began yapping at the coffin with his paws. Ivan heard something that made him shiver to his bones. The sound was soft and faint, and he could barely hear amid the barking. Ivan bent down immediately and put his ears over the coffin, and the thumping became clearer. It followed with a muffled scream of help. He had never seen or heard of this before. Ivan was shocked and dumbfounded. How on earth was this person buried alive? Thankfully, Ivan could break the coffin. The woman in there sat up, coughing and puffing. She had almost died due to the very little oxygen available in the coffin. With great care, he helped her out of the coffin. He lifted her into his arms, walking as fast as possible to the small hospital. Within minutes, he arrived at the local hospital. They had no doctors, but a few nurses were around and began to take care of her. They thanked Ivan and his dog for this great help. In fact, she could have died had they been a minute late. Ivan realized that his dog, Binka, had not only saved one life but two. The young woman was pregnant and had suffered from low blood pressure. This caused her to faint, and everyone around at the time concluded she had died. So they decided to bury her without any examination or medical guidance. When she regained consciousness, all she saw was darkness and a shortage of air. That was when she realized she had been buried in the coffin. She was incredibly grateful to Ivan and Binka for saving her life and her baby's life too. Without them, she would have lost her life and that of her unborn son. Dogs are great companions and very vigilant. This is an incredible story that shows how Binka saved the life of not one but two people.